Hello guys, Robot1 here along with Charmander in the background as always, and coming at you with a new Yu-Gi-Oh video. And in today's Yu-Gi-Oh video, we are going to be looking at the new Vampire support that Konami have given us, along with the Ghost Trick support that we just got yesterday. So Konami have literally said, oh yeah, we're not nowhere near Halloween, so let's just pump out all this Halloween support to get everybody in the early Halloween spirit, I guess, because Halloween is like, what, 2 months away? So yeah, like early Halloween feels because vampires have been released, and yesterday Ghost Tricks were released. So yeah, today we're going to be looking at vampires, guys. I'm hoping this is going to be good because I know there are people out there who do want good vampire support, because vampires are just one of those decks that, yeah, it's not really got the best support, but it's got a lot of good cards that can do a lot. And knowing that Konami just keep pumping more and more support into the vampire theme, I would love to see Konami here has some really, really good support for the vampire deck. So yeah, today we're going to be looking at vampires. Hopefully the support is good, and hopefully Konami have just done something that will make vampires actually relevant for a change, because like they have a couple of good cards like the wolf that searches spells and traps and the bat that searches monsters, or vice versa, but I'm hoping like they're just really, really good, and these cards are going to be really, really good. So let's go ahead, read the cards and see what they do. So starting off, Vampire, Ghost, Ogre. What is this? Is this Ghost Ogre and Snow Rabbit's cousin? Because like Vampire Ghost Ogre is literally just like, oh, it's a Ghost Ogre. Oh, Ghost Ogre and Snow Rabbit exists. Obviously they're related. Who knows? Maybe this is a vampire hand trap for all I know. But hey, let's find out. So this is a level 3 Dark Zombie effect monster. 1500 attack, 0 defense. Okay. So it's got attack points. Obviously it's not a hand trap because of that. All hand traps have like no attacks outside Skullmeister. So, first effect, if this card is normal summoned, you can send one other vampire card from your hand or face-up field to the graveyard. Okay, that's a cost. Don't know how I feel about that. Being it just having to send another card to do something, but we'll see what it does. Add one level 4 higher vampire monster from your deck to your hand. Okay. That is actually somewhat fair then, because you're discarding a lower leveled vampire to search a higher level vampire. So it's basically 1 for 1, no real big deals, and you get rid of something in your hand that you don't want for something that you could use. So not end of the world there. And if you do, send one level 2 or lower vampire monster from your deck to the graveyard. Oh. That's really good, because I'm pretty sure the wolf and the bat that search stuff is actually level 1 or 2 respectively, and that's actually really good if this can just go ahead and search level 5 or higher, well, level 4 or higher vampire, then send one of those to the graveyard, then special one of those back to go ahead and get a search. So that's actually really, really good and really, really strong. That's a nice effect. This card is good. This card is very good just off that alone, but it seems to have a second effect, which is during the main phase, quick effect, you can banish this card from your graveyard and pay 500 life points. Mainly after this effect resolves, normal summon one vampire monster. Okay, that's pretty decent too, because if you search a level 5 or higher vampire monster, it means that you can instantly just pay the 500 life points. Well, no, you can banish this card from your graveyard. No, I'm slightly mistaken. Okay, I was thinking you could just normal summon this, pay 500, and then tribute over it for a second there, but no, my brain just misread it for some reason, and it's actually, well, you just have it in your graveyard, you banish it, and you pay 500 life points, and immediately after normal summon again. So it's not a bad effect, don't get me wrong, it's not bad whatsoever. It's got good effect right there, just having the additional effect to just go ahead and banish, pay 5, and then just additional normal summon any vampire. But I kind of wish it was just like, while it's face up on the board, pay 500 and tribute over it, because you just search a vampire, then tribute over this. But not gonna lie, even though it doesn't have that, paying 500 life points to get an additional normal summon is always a good effect, and that's actually really good for like the tribute summon vampires, so it means you can make them easier to summon as well. So not a bad card in any sense of the imagination. This card is actually very strong just because it's first effect, and the second effect is a nice little addition. So Vampire Ghost Ogre, nice. Very, very good card, and I really do think this is actually has a lot of potential and could actually boost Vampire's potential too. So that's not bad either. Like, the only thing I would say I would like to be slightly changed is if its first effect wasn't just on normal summon and was also on special summon. Because if it was both, then you could just Mizuki it back and do its effects again, which would actually be really, really cool and really, really good. So, but anyway, that's this card. This card is actually really strong. Let's go on to the next card, which is the Undead Vampire. I mean, aren't all vampires undead? Okay. It is a rank 8 dark zombie effect monster, and it has 3000 attack, 2000 defense, takes 2 level 8 monsters, so it is generic, which is good. Generic effects are always really, really nice. And its effects are, if you use a monster with a level that is owned by your opponent for the XC summon of this card, treat it as a level 8. Okay. So you can use monsters that's owned by your opponent. Oh, I get it. So if you, like, crack down an opponent's monster, then you can treat that monster as level 8 to overlay into this. Okay, interesting. Because, like, there are a lot of ways to actually steal cards from opponents' graveyards with vampires, so it makes a lot of sense. First effect, though, after the additional clause to summon it, neither player can target this card with card effects of monsters special summoned from anywhere other than the graveyard. Okay, so no monsters can target unless they're summoned from the graveyard. Interesting effect, interesting protection, nice, I guess. Like, targeting is something that is always pretty decent. Like, I wish it was slightly different. Instead of just saying targeted, it was just unaffected by all effects of monsters unless they're summoned from the graveyard. But, hey, it's got protection, not bad. But what does its second effect do? You can detach one XC's material from this card. Send the top 4 cards of each player's decks to the graveyard. And if a monster was sent to a graveyard with this effect, you can special summon one of them to your field. That's pretty good. Like, that's literally just say, okay, you mill 4, I mill 4, and then I steal something really good from my opponent's graveyard, or I use something that I milled to be able to utilize to do more stuff. That is actually a really, really good effect. Like, I don't actually have any bad ideas about, like, it's obviously RNG based, so if both of you just mill like 4 spells or 4 traps, then you can't really do anything with it. But just the fact that it's mill, it goes ahead and gives you a free summon, like, it's actually a really good effect. That's not bad at all. Like, I generally think that's just really decent. Plus, it can be summoned not that hard because of vampires like to steal stuff from the graveyard, so it's not the end of the world. Plus, if you stole 2 things, they're both level 8s. Like, it's actually a pretty decent card for what it does. And we've got a link free. Is it going to be better than Vampire Sucker, though? We shall find out. Okay, so Vampire Fascinator. Link free, Dark Zombie, Link Effect Monster, 2400 attack. Arrows is obviously are the same as decoys, top and left, bottom right. And it takes 2 monsters, including a zombie monster. So it is generic, so it's 2+, including a zombie. It's generic for zombies. It's not generic. I don't know why I said it's generic. Generic means they can be summoned anyway, but still, it's makeable in zombies. But its first effect is, if this card is link summoned, you can target 1 monster in your opponent's graveyard. You cannot special summon other monsters for the rest of this turn except zombie monsters. Also, special summon the targeted monster to your field in defense position. That is actually very good. I have one qualm with it, in the fact that it stops you. Well, you can only summon really monsters that aren't links. I wish it could summon any monster. Like, if it could summon a link monster, it could summon like any. I just wish it could summon link monsters as well. That's my only qualm with it, because it has to summon in defense. Because it also locks you into zombie monsters, so being able to steal any monster from your opponent's graveyard isn't the end of the world. But it can't steal link monsters. It has to summon in defense, but it does technically steal a monster, which allows you to actually go into the Undead Vampire a lot easier. So that's not a bad effect for this. Like, link summon steal from grave is actually pretty decent. Second effect, though, you contribute 1 vampire monster, then target 1 monster your opponent controls. Take control of it until the end of the turn. That's pretty good. This card is actually really, really nice. Just the fact that, 1, it's a free monster reborn from your opponent's graveyard. Really, really good. And 2, you can just tribute any vampire monster you control, and then just take an opponent's monster until the end of the turn. And it doesn't say you're restricted by tributing that monster. It doesn't say, oh, you can only attack with zombies. Oh, you can only special summon zombies. No, tribute random vampire monster I have on my board, steal opponent's good monster, and utilize it to go further in the game. Like, that is actually a really good effect. Like, it's basically just change of heart for the turn, which is really, really cool. So, Link Monster, very, very strong. Just having the ability to summon from opponent's graveyard and also steal opponent's monsters is very strong. And honestly, being a Link 3 for that is just really insane. Like, normally Link 4s would typically have an effect like that. That would just be very, very strong and just be able to do a lot. But no, it's on a Link 3, which is actually kind of surprising. I would think they would make this a Link 4 effect just because it's actually really busted, just stealing stuff and just stealing tons of stuff. Like, that's what it does. Fascinator just steals a ton of stuff. But guys, that is all the vampire support, and honestly, these 3 vampire cards are very, very strong. Like, you've got Ghost Ogre here that just says I can search any vampire card in my deck that is a level 3, and I say any vampire monster that is a level 3 because, well, it does add level 4 or higher, and it also sends level 2 or lower, so you are technically going through every vampire card in your deck, so you do technically get any vampire card from your deck, and it's literally a +2 if you send one that can be summoned from the graveyard. So, well, sorry, no, +1 if you can summon get one that can be summoned from the graveyard. So that's also really strong there. The card is an additional summon, which is actually pretty decent. You've also got this new, the Undead Vampire. Again, vampires are already undead. I don't understand why it's called the Undead Vampire, but nonetheless, it's a 3k beat stick, it's generic, it mills cards and gives you free summons, which is really, really good. And also, neither player can target by effects, which is great. And then you've just got this really, really good Link monster that just says, oh, I'm going to steal your monsters from the graveyard, and I'm also going to tribute vampires that steal monsters you control. Like, guys, honestly, vampire support, really, really strong. Konami, you have done a great job on making this vampire support because, honestly, when I was really thinking about making this video and looking at these cards, I was thinking, oh, okay, they're just new vampire support. Vampires haven't had really any amazing support that could potentially break them in any way, shape, or form. But reading these cards now, I'm like, Konami, you've done a very, very good job here. But guys, that is actually all I have to say for this video. What do you personally think of this new vampire support? Do you think Konami have done a really good job? Do you think these cards are a little too situational? Do you think these cards maybe cost a bit too much or are a bit too hard to use? I personally disagree with it if you think that, but these cards, in my opinion, are really, really good for vampires. Will they make them meta? I don't know. Like, they could potentially make them higher in a tier scale, like from being like maybe tier 5 to like tier 3. I don't know. Like, these are the kind of cards that I can kind of support, that I see being just insanely powerful, especially just Vampire Fascinator for any zombie deck. Like, if you're playing a zombie deck, you will be playing this in your deck now, just because it's so free and it's so useful. And also, you can tribute one vampire monster you control, so you can even tribute itself. So you can just tribute it, target a big monster your opponent controls, steal it, and utilize it for whatever you want. So, guys, like, these cards are really, really strong. Tell me your thoughts in the comment section below. I hope you enjoyed the video, guys, and I'll be seeing you guys in the next one. Please don't forget to check out the links in the description. And yeah, guys, Konami made good vampire support. Tell me your thoughts, and I'll see you in the next one, guys. Like, honestly, Konami, you get a clap of appreciation for this. This is good vampire support. I can't deny it. Later, all.